Shoulder pain is one of those things that people seem to feel like they just have to put up with if they want to stay active as they get older. There's seemingly no real reason. They've been to the physio, they've done some rotator cuff stuff. They can't really come to understand what it is that's causing the problem, but we're going to go through a few things in this video to allow you to self-diagnose and hopefully get your shoulders working properly again. The first thing we need to look at when we're assessing why your shoulder isn't working properly is actually thoracic movement. Your T-spine should be able to rotate quite a lot. Now in this position here, I've locked my legs together so that I can't cheat with my hips. I've actually got my knees slightly above my hips because that means none of the rotation can come from my lower back. And now all the rotation that I'm about to perform is going to come from my upper body. So if I cross my hands here, a normal amount of movement is going to be at least 45 degrees, but even better 50 degrees to each side. And if you look at how much I'm able to rotate each way, you can see that maybe just verging on 45 degrees. So we can see straight away there's going to be a problem with how well my shoulders function. And no surprise, if you know my medical history, I have some stuff going on my right hand side. So recently I had spine surgery. They had to cut through all the muscles in my upper back on the right hand side. And you're going to see, just based on that rotation information alone, that you know there's going to be a problem on one side versus the other. So here's my left side, right? And I should be able to get to bicep close to ear. And we look at my right side, you see the difference that I've got right here. So what's causing that difference? Now, following the same acronym that we use for most of our self-diagnosis stuff, I'm going to go through a quick rail on myself, which means R for release. So I'm going to roll my lat and in under my rear delt to release all that work. So to foam roll the lat, I'm going to find something that doesn't feel very good, like that lumpy bit right there. I'm just going to hang out here for a few breaths. There's no need to actually roll back and forth. I'm not trying to massage myself. I'm trying to release this trigger point that I'm lying on right now. And then when I feel that relax, I'm going to find the next thing, and it's right here where my rear delt meets the top of my trunk. So that's also fairly unpleasant. Like with most stuff, we want to test and then retest to make sure we're heading in the right direction. We're going to go, here's my good arm. Look at that. Look at the difference we've made just with about 30 seconds of foam rolling. I'm pretty much equal now. There's still a little bit of deficit on that right-hand side. The next step in that release strategy is actually going to be stretching the lat here, which is kind of pulling the shoulder down into this protected position, not allowing things to move properly. Now, pro tip, when you internally rotate, you close up the space in your shoulder joint. When you externally rotate, you open that up. So I'm going to grab here with an externally rotated hand. So that's going to be a thumb up or thumb out position. And I'm going to lean into it and push my hip away. So I get a stretch in this position here. And I can feel this now in my lat. That's quite a nice stretch for me in the lat. So just like everything, I'm going to hang out here for about 30 to 60 seconds. And then we're going to retest again to make sure we're heading in the right direction. So now, after the stretch, we want to retest. So here's my good side. Here's what was my bad side. They're feeling pretty consistent now from side to side. No surprise, my shoulders are feeling pretty relaxed, even though we've done nothing at all to do with the shoulders at this point. The next step in our rehab self-diagnosis strategy is to activate the opposing muscle groups. So if you think most people are in this really shoulders forward, seated, hunched kind of position, we need to activate the stuff in the back so that the shoulder is held correctly in place. Now, most people, when they do these moves, tend to allow the shoulder to move. What we really need to do is suck the shoulders down to make sure that everything's in the right place. So using quite small weights, these are 2 kilo dumbbells, I suck my shoulders down, I'm going to turn myself into a big Y and then come back down. I can relax the shoulders, suck everything down, make a big Y and come back down. And I'm going to do sets of 10 to 12 reps at a time of these, and then I'm going to retest to make sure we're still heading in the right direction. So now we've done some release stuff, we've done foam rolling, we've done a lat stretch, we've done some activation work for our upper back, and now when we look at what our extension is like, you can see that's getting pretty good, very similar from side to side. So now the next step is we need to load this while getting everything integrated and working properly. This is a really great time to implement the half Turkish get up. So half meaning we're only going to do the bit where we're still on the ground. And what you see is me doing internal and external rotation when I'm lying, when I'm on my elbow, and when I come to that seated position. as well as deliberately elevating and protracting my shoulder at the same time. What I'm really doing is teaching my shoulder to sit in the right position while I'm going through a bunch of different angles and movements. So this is a great way now to integrate load, movement, and a lot of different muscle groups and joints while getting the shoulder functioning properly. And so now as our final test, retest, we go from normal side, other side, and they are probably spot on, symmetrical, exactly the same after what amounts to only about 10 minutes of work. So pain-free, full range of movement in a very short period of time. These exercises will absolutely help you provided you do them. Some final tips on dealing with your own shoulder impingement. What you'll find is that positions with internal rotation, that's this thumb down position, will close the shoulder joint up and be less comfortable. So if you're doing flies with your thumbs pointing towards one another, that will be less comfortable than an externally rotated position will. So maybe you want to do cable flies instead, allow yourself to be in that externally rotated position. That opens the shoulder joint up, gives you a little bit more space. But by focusing on these few simple things, we've done some lat work, we've done some upper back work, and we've done an integration movement. My range has been fully restored in just a few minutes. So give those a try next time you train and see if your shoulders are feeling much better.